Pike's pushed more and forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's allowed to have fun. Yeah, and
it's all about the entertainment. So I hope
everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching the Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
Standing out from the crowd is a challenge. You have the passion, courage, and ambition to do something extraordinary. You have an awesome story to tell and a wonderful vision to share with the world. At Eddie Videos, we take that vision and turn it into reality so you can be heard above the rest. You need something different, and we give you the ultimate advantage. We can help you transform your ideas, images, and clips into a professional video that brings your message to life and sets a new bar for excellence. Visuals, voiceovers, editing, animations, whatever you need, we've got it all. If you're a new business looking to make your mark or an experienced company searching for something new and amazing, we're here to help. Trust us to take your video to amazing levels of awesomeness.
Does he have it? Medeiros is going to get it. Oh, they're going to toss it. They haven't got it. He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry! Hello everybody and welcome back to the Radical Race Series for round 7 of season 4 in 2023. We return to Brands Hatch, the scene of a fantastic race a couple of seasons ago, where in one night John McCutcheon went from provisionally crowned champion on the night to provisionally made sure that he absolutely wasn't going to win the title on that occasion. That one would eventually go to Simon Edwards, but today the two of them will be going head to head once again, along with all the rest, all the usual suspects here tonight again for another great night of racing. My name is Ewan O'Leary. I'm alongside James Parfitt once again, as we have been with you for the entire of the season so far, and I think we'll be here for the entire of the season all the way to the start of December as well. We're glad to be back here, James, after a season off or so. I think it might actually be a couple of seasons away from this track. But what a race we had last time we were here. It was John McCutcheon, Luke Maxwell, Simon Edwards, all going for a title, and so many twists and turns over the course of the 2 races.
Yeah, that evening brought kind of everything. It brought spins with Luke Maxwell. There was contact with John McCutcheon and Paul Clark. You know, it was like a scandal in the Radical Race Series. It really did get unbelievably exciting, that race. I'm not going to lie. Like, you know, we were both off our feet and screaming. There was just so much going on with the guys who were challenging for the title, and I'm really hoping this is the same. I know it's not a title decider, and I know that, you know, it's not got any value to a degree. Obviously they want to score points at this race, don't get me wrong, but it hasn't got that same build up like we had last time out. As you say, it was 2 seasons ago. There was a spin for Maxwell down in Graham Hill. There was contact with McCutcheon and Paul Clark going round Druids. It was just like either one of them didn't want to win the title, and now we go again. We're in middle of season, round 7. You know, I'm really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, it doesn't, as you say, it doesn't have as much riding on it, of course, but it is still an important race. Every race is going to be important for the points battle, which we can take a look at now. John McCutcheon is currently leading the point standings by 11 points or so over Luke Maxwell. Then Simon Edwards and James Barry, the top 4. Those are the big contenders we're really looking out for. Paul LeMay, Paul Clark might be able to get involved, although there is a near 20 points between 4th and 5th at the moment. Ben Underdown is 7th, just a point ahead of Paul Crabb, 2-time champion of this series in the past, of course. Mike Bousson and Sergio De La Cruz round out the top 10, who he just has a point over James Child. Then Jamie Bird and Seth Brown, the final drivers to have more than 100 points. Then it's Daryl Taylor and George Gonzaga to round out the top 15. Michael LeMay is in the 16th position. We're just switching sessions there, don't worry about that. We've got Damien G 17th ahead of Robert Woodward, then Clark Williams and Wayne Palmer round out the top 20. He's tied on points with Phil Jocelyn, who has a point over James McRitchie. Then it's Phil Glover in 23rd, ahead of Martina Ward, who's 24th. Paul Godden rounding out the top 25. Graham Brown is next. He is just ahead of David Rosden by 10 points or so. Andy Thomas and Tom Minor are tied for 28th, with Kian Palmer rounding out the top 30. Patrick Charlton and Chris Max Davies round out the 32 drivers who have taken part in a Radical Race Series event here this season, along with Alan Peterson as well, who makes up the 33rd here this season. So qualifying is just underway now. We can see the circuit and people exiting onto the track, hopefully, over the next minute. There they are. They are indeed making their way around the back end of the Grand Prix layout right now. It's certainly a little bit of a longer circuit than what we've had from some of those in the past, like Road Atlanta last time around, but really it's not actually that much more of a lap time around here, in all fairness. They're going to be able to squeeze quite a few into this 10-minute session, although finding track space once again is going to be a small problem, because we do have over 20 drivers on the grid all over again, with a few notable absentees as well.
Yeah, I can't see him at the moment, and I can't see his flag anywhere. A little bit concerned where John McCutcheon is, and whether or not he's going to make this one. We are having slight issues with the timing software. Bear with us, we will be there very shortly. But I can't see John McCutcheon out at the moment, unless he magically appears a bit later on and he's starting at the back. I don't really know on that one. I haven't seen a message from him to say he's not going to make it. I know Chris Kane isn't going to make it either. I know, obviously, Seth Brown, get well soon, young sir. He's had a cold all week. Bless little Seth Brown. And Daryl Taylor, who's in YouTube chat, is currently harassing the hell out the Scottish as he's on vacation, I believe, up in Scotland. So, yeah, so there's a few absentees. I can't see nothing from John McCutcheon either, but we might be able to share a little bit of a tidbit, a little rumour I heard coming up for next season.
Oh, can we? I don't know about this, do I?
No, basically you haven't, unless you've been spying on my messages.
Okay. Well, no, I haven't. To give you the truth. So yeah, we'll. Interesting. Very interesting. Two theories about McCutcheon, by the way. He often is late anyway these days, so it is often a bit of a rush for him to get back anyway. And Aberdeen are playing tonight, so I'm not sure whether he's maybe watching that instead. We'll find out, of course. Luke Maxwell will go top though with a 19.4. That's the first lap time, and Simon Edwards and Paul LeMay O'Leary have gone with exactly the same lap time there. That's somewhat rare. But they're second and third at the moment. James Ritchie will slot in as well. He'll be pleased of an Aston Villa win earlier on today, by the way. I think he's an Aston Villa fan based on his... I think so. I've seen the badge in his profile picture somewhere. I can't remember on what social media platform that was, whether it was Discord or YouTube or something. But I'm pretty sure he's an Aston Villa fan, so he'll be pretty pleased at the moment. But anyway, that's my two theories about John McCutcheon. Anyway, he did tell us last season, to be fair, that it's bowls season again, isn't it? So I think he's rushing back again often, as he does in these evenings. Maybe starting race one from the back, which he has done on quite a few occasions.
Yeah, but to be fair, it doesn't really matter where he seems to start off from as well, to be honest. But I'd like to shout out that while we're talking that brief conversation about football as well, I'd like to point out, for the first time in a very long time, my beloved Tottenham Hotspur are top of the league and clear by 2 points and have not lost a game all season. So while you're all at home contemplating that, but, you know, it's, yeah, good job. Budding Spurs fans out there who want to celebrate the fact that we're actually near the top of the league. So there we go.
It's only the end of October, James. Long way to go.
Listen, I could get excited for a brief moment, all right? Look, it's the first time in ages that I've seen that.
I don't blame you at all. I was celebrating being in the top half of the Premier League earlier on this season, in about September. So no, it's I totally understand.
Who's your team?
Nottingham Forest.
Bless, you're in 15th. Good job.
We are, yeah, but I'm pretty disappointed about that though, because we did draw to Luton at home on Saturday. So,
yes.
So the less said about that, the better, if I may. But anyway, let's sidestep football briefly, because I know probably quite a lot of people watching this maybe don't care at all.
Are we watching football? Or? Sorry, I'm a bit confused.
Yeah, sorry. We've gone massively off track. We'll bring it back to this qualifying session, because it is actually very close, isn't it? Simon Edwards has taken the top spot in the last couple of moments with an 18.7. He's 200ths ahead of Luke Maxwell, and James Barry has just slotted himself up to third. Was beginning to wonder where he was actually. That's where he is. He's on the second row for the moment. Luke Maxwell's got a purple sector at the moment. So has Paul LeMay, and so has Michael LeMay, who's putting in a really wonderful qualifying at the moment. Simon Edwards was not able to go any quicker that time. Neither was Luke Maxwell, but he was very close. Paul LeMay was, though. The first 18.5 of the session, and Paul LeMay jumps over his brother Michael LeMay, who's also got a purple sector in there. Unfortunately, I think it all fell apart at the end of that lap actually, and he slips to 6th now. But Paul LeMay currently on pole position.
Yeah, he was up there in practice as well, was Paul LeMay, so he was doing a great job. Damien G was sitting in 9th. We've got the young lad, obviously, Kian Palmer, who's out on track as well. He's got some greens on the board as he goes over the line. And what does Kian do here? Does he move up from 19th? He does. He moves up to 16th. So a great job from this young man as well. Obviously, one of the few that had first time driving the SR10. So we know that obviously the likes of James Barry, Maxwell, Edwards, LeMay, Brown, Crabb, and all the others have been driving it for absolutely ages. James Barry, not so much. So a great job there as well. Right, just really quickly, my little bit of tidbits, right? Now, this is just up for discussion at the moment, right? There's no solid evidence that this is likely to happen. But the other day, I heard a little birdie say to me that they could possibly run, as we'll wait for Maxwell to go over the line. What's he going to do first? He goes into second. Great job. 1:18.5. There possibly could be next season, Mr. O'Leary, a Pro and Am championship. Now,
yes,
nothing's definite. All
no,
right.
I did see it was McCutcheon who brought it up in the main chat, wasn't it? I saw that.
So nothing is definite, but we could have a Pro and Am fight. Now this season we've seen a massive growth in the grid as well, which has done this league a world of good. The racing's been, well, as we know, absolutely epic. John McCutcheon is here, the Scotsman there as well, just about to go over to the line. What is he going to be able to do for his first lap once more? 2 minutes 27 left of quali. John McCutcheon into 11th. That's one to keep an eye on, mind you, because I don't think that's going to be his fastest. So yeah, so there's a little bit of a tidbit rumour that possibly it might be a Pro and Am, but nothing's definite. Don't take it as golden. I heard it from James, and this was what he said, because as I say, it is being discussed at the moment.
Yeah, I'd imagine, generally the admins in this league are up for discussing anything, to be honest, in terms of format changes. If you're part of the league and you want to suggest something, then
I agree.
That's how we got the Nordschleife off of being the final race of the season every single time. I believe we had it for the season 1 of 2023, but we've been to Le Mans for season 2 and Mosport as well. Just as the Irish schedule fell, Mosport was the last race of the season last season, as far as I remember. That's how these things change in this league, and it isn't impossible to get things to change, which is the case sometimes in some leagues. I can't say I would be massively excited by a Pro and Am sort of split, because I don't know, something just feels weird about it to me. But I'm not a driver, so at the end of the day, my opinion doesn't really matter.
No.
We'll enjoy it whichever way it goes around for the 2024 season, as John McCutcheon goes up to 5th.
Yeah, I think the thing is, from a league point of view, you want to try and keep these guys all involved, right? And as we know, sometimes when you go into a league where you've got a massive deficit between, for the likes of 23rd down to all the way up to 1st, as the season goes on, people drop out, not really worth fighting for, there's nothing for me to turn up for, and all of that. But at the end of the day, if you give them something to fight for, like a Pro and Am Championship, it keeps them interested. And it works obviously in the JPB leagues that we do as well, the TCRs, the Clios and the GT4s, and it works really well, and people really like it because it just keeps them involved for that season. So I can understand why the discussions are there, and I can understand why it's been suggested, and I can understand why Darryl, Martino and Graham are taking it on board, because it is something to think about. Why you've grown exponentially this year. We've shot up to nearly 24 plus drivers, which is great for this league. And I do recommend that if anybody wants to get involved, please do, because it is really one of the best radical leagues out there, and I think we can both admit that. And and I think it'd be a good move if they did go down that path. But as I say, I'm the same as you. I'm not a driver, and it's not my decision. So there we go. But there's a grid.
Absolutely. Yes, let's have a look at the grid. It's Paul LeMay with a great lap to get pole here ahead of Luke Maxwell, Simon Edwards, James Barry and John McCutcheon, the top 4 in the championship, all in those next 4 places. Ben Underdown will join John on the 3rd row with Graham Brown and James McRitchie on row 4. Two-time champion Paul Crabb is alongside Michael LeMay on row 5 with Martina Ward 11th, just ahead of Paul Clark, who certainly made his name known last time we were here at Brands Hatch, I think it's fair to say. Sergio De La Cruz, 13th ahead of Damien G, with Jamie Bird and Mike Booson sharing row 8. Then it's James Child and Wayne Palmer, with Phil Glover and Kian Palmer running at the top 20. Paul Godden, Robert Woodward and Phil Jocelyn, the final drivers to qualify. Adam Patterson didn't, and I'm not sure whether he will take the start of the race, but if he does, it will be 24 off of the start here. I don't think he is going to, incidentally.
No, it's a bit of a weird one. He joined right at the end, so bit strange.
Okay.
Not really sure.
Well, he's not here for the minute, and I'm going to hazard a guess that maybe not, but we certainly hope so. Good lap, though, from Paul LeMay, and he has taken the pole position ahead of Luke Maxwell, who held that for a little while and even got into the 18.5s himself, actually, but still wasn't quite good enough to overtake that pole position of Paul LeMay, and so it will be the two of them on the front row together for the first race here at Brands Hatch. The lights will be coming on now. It's round 7 of the Radical Race Series for the final season in 2023. We are now underway, and Paul LeMay has not... Oh no, it's the disaster in the background. I think it's James McRitchie and Paul Crabb who have got into contact. There was a spin off the line as well, and it's all gone terribly wrong for those in the background. McCutcheon has had a big slide, and he's had to lock up to just correct that as well. Around turn 1 for the first time. Oh, and there's a spin for Simon Edwards. He gets into James Barry. The Brands Hatch mayhem already taking place on lap 1 here of the opening race. Simon Edwards might even have damage now. He'll be under pressure from those in behind him, first of which Ben Underdown, who's in 5th place. John McCutcheon will dive up the inside to get back to 6th all over again. What a crazy start all over again here at Brands Hatch. Paul Crabb is already out of this race.
Yeah, he is. Crabb's in the pits already. We'll have a look back at the start once we get past this first lap. lap. But Luke Maxwell out in front by 1.2 seconds. It all got a little bit calamity after that as well. Oh, no, Ben Underdown's gone round. Ben Underdown has gone round as well.
And McCutcheon.
And McCutcheon. It's all going off here. This first lap needs to be completely rewatched again just to see what happened to Damien G on the grass.
Oh, Damien G.
Where are you
Damien
going?
G's gone very wide at the top of the hill there. Oh, dear. Oh, no. Chaos in the background. Paul Godden's involved. Phil Glover as well.
Wayne Palmer as well. What is going on? I know it's near Halloween, but God blimey, gentlemen. What is happening here?
This Brands Hatch is what this is. Oh, and off the road into turn one, we've got off the road. Jamie Bird and Sergio De La Cruz have made contact and they're in the gravel together. Well, what has gone on here? This is absolutely unbelievable. To start off this race at Brands Hatch, we know that this track and this venue can create carnage. We weren't quite expecting this level of carnage on the opening lap of 11. You're absolutely right. We are going to have to watch pretty much the entirety of the first lap all over again when things just calm down a little bit, because there's so much to unpick. And it started even before they crossed the line for the first time. Now Jamie Bird has... Oh, he's spun out of South Frank. That is an absolute disaster as well through turn 4. This has been carnage. And where do we go from here now? Oh, and there's more contacts. That's where we go from here. Martina Ward and Phil Jocelyn have made contact into Hawthorns. And that is going to be another car into the gravel and the grass on the outside of that corner. Unbelievable first couple of laps.
And now Ben Underdown's trying to go. Oh, he's off. Wayne
Palmer.
No. Oh. All right. I don't get this, right? The weirdest thing is, right, we just picked this up before we went green. I just sat here and said it was the best league on iRacing, and it's all gone calamity. We didn't even get off the line. Like, watch James McRitchie's in the middle of your screen here, and he literally spun it up, and I don't know if he got hit by... Crab didn't go anywhere. Oh, Jamie Bird.
So Crab got clipped there, and yeah, Crab just doesn't go anywhere. Didn't see, I was focusing too much on Crab to see what happened to James McRitchie, actually.
He spun
I didn't
up
actually.
And didn't go nowhere.
Okay, he just spun himself. It is a bizarre pit straight, to be fair, and it's a usual one to get going. Simon Edwards made contact somewhere around here, by the way. He went for a half spin at Druids. Is it Druids turn 2? It is, yes. Sorry, I get my turn 1 and 2 mixed up there all the time. Druids, he made a bit of contact with James Barry, I think it was, as well. Then had to fight off Underdown. And then there was that fight between McCutcheon and Underdown, wasn't it? Who fought through the GP layout. And McCutcheon's obviously in the orange and black in the middle of your screen here. We can see what happened to him. He'll get through Hawthorne Bend all right. But when you get to Westfield, it's going to get a little bit wrong. So Underdown goes for that move, and then there's contact. McCutcheon gets into the back of him and has to go wide to avoid, so actually won't have any damage, just lost a lot of places.
Then Damien G has a moment coming up through Dingle Dell. He goes offside of the circuit as well. Watch the end of this, because I think there's contact somewhere here for Jamie.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he was. Oh, Paul Godden nearly sent Damien G up into the shadow realm, and then Wayne Palmer has a little bit of a tap further down with Martina Ward. It's all been a little bit crazy. That was literally just half the first lap without everything else what was going on as well, because Wayne Palmer, Martina Ward, Phil Glover, Damien G, Jamie Bird, Sergio De La Cruz, Luke Maxwell's been off track as well.
Oh, my word.
What is gone on here?
So this is through Hawthorne. I think he'll be okay with that. He'll be okay, but it just shows the pressure that he's under right now as well. This is turning into a quite fantastic opening race of the evening. We've still got 19 laps, by the way, in the second one to come a little bit later on. Simon Edwards just running slightly wide through there as well. Just wonder what the state of his car is like after making that slight bit of contact with James Barry on the opening lap. Edwards still stuck in 4th place.
Yeah, but this is I don't know. I feel like somehow, you know, they talk about this commentator's curse. If you're Zach Sweeney, you talk about it as if it's just a commentator's coincidence. We just picked the league up, literally, and I'm not gonna lie, guys, this has just been, you know, for me and Ewan, I think this is probably one of the worst starts we have watched from this league, and it's really bizarre. I know it's Halloween. I don't know it's scary season. Maybe they've all got red contacts in. I don't really know what the situation is, but whatever it is, it has gone off. I haven't even had time to write all of these down on my little bit of paper that I've got for me race notes. It's just been absolutely chaos.
Yeah, it's all been going on at the moment, and it does mean that we are going to have a probably quieter second half to this race, but there is still battling going on. For 6th place, Mike Buston's just got ahead of Paul Clark, and then it's Michael LeMay in the 3rd position in this group here. As you can see, it's the only battle numbering more than 2 drivers involved anywhere in the field. Now, the big worry for the big names at the top of the championship is for John McCutcheon. He's down in 17th at the moment. He's got ahead of Phil Jocelyn and Martina Ward at the very least. I mean, it's difficult to see him getting inside the top 10 right now in race 1 and benefiting from that reverse grid, of course.
I fully agree with you there, sir. I'm not going to lie. The Scotsman is a long way back here currently, and it's really caused a bit of a mayhem beginning. It's just been unbelievable. I think, to be honest, I'm writing down the names of everyone that's been involved in something, and I'll read them out to you when I finish, because the list is ever growing here over this first lap or these first couple of laps, and it's just been mental. Absolutely mental. I think I've written down about 15 names so far, and there's still more coming when people have been involved in it, and I am just shocked that it has. But for Luke Maxwell, he wasn't aware of what was going on behind him. He's not aware of the chaos and the carnage and everything else. This has just been a straight run in the ground for Maxwell. But listen to this. We have had McRitchie, McHutchinson, Underdown, G, Ward, Godden, Glover, Palmer, Bird, Dela Cruz, Maxwell, Jocelyn and Edwards all have some kind of dilemma over the first few laps of this race. That is just unbelievable for this league. I don't know, I'm just in shock.
Yes, it is quite shocking so far, to be honest, this opening to this. I mean, we big up Brands Hatch as being one of the most chaotic races of the season, but we certainly didn't expect this. 5 laps to go, including the one that they're on at the moment. It's a short opening race, of course, in the Radical Race Series. 19 laps coming up in the second race, and it's a reverse top 10 for the second race as well. So stay tuned, because that's normally where we see even more action in the second race, but it's hard to get any more than what you're seeing at the moment on your screens. It's maybe a good thing we've had a couple of seasons off from this circuit, because I believe last time we were here, it was that race with a few races to go, or indeed one race to go after this one. Season 1 of 2023. We're back here again for season 4. A couple of seasons off, maybe a good thing, because what we're seeing around here is unparalleled, really. Now looking around the outside is LeMay as he tries to get through on Paul Clark, who did a lot of defending in that race a couple of seasons ago. Now he's having to do some more, and he does hold on to that place for now.
Yeah, I think that was a big Clark and McHutchinson. There was the whole scandal. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. It was like being in an actual, real life series of what had gone on for the championship. It did really get us going here as well. But Paul Clark, again, we know he's just been an absolute stellar defender as well. Darryl Taylor, I love this. I have a week off and it all goes pear-shaped for Darryl Taylor. So he's literally just saying, well, I've had a week off there as well. Wait, what? Welcome in, dear sir. I didn't see you jump in there as well. What did you do? And Austin, thank you so much for coming in. I was debating which race to watch, but this one is definitely the winner, says Wait What? I agree. I do fully agree with you, but Paul LeMay is trying to get drop off Simon Edwards here. We know Edwards might have damage after the slight little contact with James Barry coming out of Druids, but I don't know if it's affected him that much. He's closing in on LeMay and has been over the last lap or so. Edwards with a 1:18.96, Ewan. LeMay with a 1:19.21. So maybe that damage that we think Edwards has got is not quite doing as much as what we thought it would be.
No, I mean, I never thought it would be completely detrimental, but I did think it would hold him back a little bit. It seems that, that it's not really doing much, I don't think, at the moment. The top 4 seem quite evenly matched, but it's quite hard to get close around here and quite hard to overtake as well. So when you're in this position, it's pretty hard to move from where you are. Brown has made a mistake on this last time, actually. Graham Brown from 5th place. Mike Booston is now inside the top 5. with Brown moving down, but Paul Clark and Michael LeMay still fighting it out, going into the final corner, and LeMay will hang on. Let's see what happened to Brown. Oh, it was a half spin.
Yeah, he got
loose. Yeah, he did well to catch it and keep it going in the right direction at least, but Bousson does go through. LeMay couldn't go through on Paul Clark on that lap though.
Yeah, he was definitely having a go there as well, and I think that's one of the things for Paul Clark. He is under pressure from Michael LeMay. Now, obviously, these guys know each other on the racetrack. Everybody's met in real life. We had a wicked day up at Paul's Hi-Fi Lounge, well, a while ago, but now he's just made a mistake, and that's allowed Michael LeMay through. So really, at the moment, I'm just going to stay off all drivers, because anybody I really talk about ends up having a moment, and Paul Godden has now had more than one moment. He's had another one here as well, which seems very strange for Paul Godden. He's normally quite consistent here, Ewan. Maybe his car wasn't right or feeling right. He was involved in that big old pile up with Damien G. And wait, what is correct there? James is more making a naughty or nice list. Well, it wasn't that. I was just trying to express that literally probably most of the field here have been involved in some form of incident over the first few laps.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, good to see Paul Godden back again. He hasn't been here for a couple of races actually, but is back again. And by the way, to add to the absentees list that we know about, George Gonzaga won't be here for a few weeks. By the way, I think he's going to be returning at Bathurst, but that's still a few weeks away. Told us last week, I think, didn't he, that he was going to miss the next 3 rounds. So unfortunately, he will be away for a little while. But that just adds to the list of drivers that we've got in this series. 23 actually took the start of this race. 21 still running in this one at the moment. And as we mentioned earlier, a few notable absentees that we've already spoken about. A couple of laps to go then. Penultimate lap is what we are currently negotiating, and it's Michael LeMay who's just in front of Paul Clark now, finally battling his way through. Now James Child would like to do the same, and everything's closing up again before the end. The opening laps really spread things apart, but it's getting slightly close before the end.
Yeah, it definitely is here with also James Child. He's trying to currently get onto the back of Paul Clark. There is Mr. Clark in front of us as they go down now through Dingledale. They're going to go the right-hander at the top of the hill. Dingledale corner. There's that tricky one. If you try it too wide, one of you is going to end up being on the grass. It's as easy as that. Dela Cruz is trying to close down in the background there. He's about 1.5 seconds back. Maxwell has started the final lap. He's dropping down now right into Pilgrim's Rise as we talk, and he is off and out in front by 1.2 seconds, being kept honest by James Barry, which I think is good for this young man. As I said, we've discussed it before. If we can keep it in the season, then he's up with a chance of winning, right? And he has shown his pace and stuff like that, so I wouldn't be too surprised if he is there or thereabouts. Edwards, I don't think he's got the matching of the pole man of Paul LeMay. Unless LeMay makes an incident over this next half lap or so, I don't think Edwards has quite got the pace to keep up with him.
Well, let's see, because the top 4 do seem pretty evenly matched to me, with nearly 10 seconds over the rest of the field. It's a race that's flown by pretty quickly, though. The opening half of the race was just filled with carnage. The second half filled with drivers closing gaps again towards the end of this one, but still 19 more laps in race 2 for us to enjoy. For now, Luke Maxwell is going to enjoy another race win. He's the only driver so far this season to have taken 2 race wins in one night. That came back at round 3 at Oulton Park, where he took both race 1 and 2. He's got the chance to do it again because he's taken the opening race victory here tonight. Luke Maxwell wins race 1 at Brands Hatch to James Barry, Paul LeMay and Simon Edwards, all keeping each other honest right to the end.
Yeah, Ben Underdown's having a crack at Robert Woodward here as well. James Charles trying to go with Paul LeMay. I don't think he's going to make it through. He isn't. What's going to happen here with Ben Underdown and Robert Woodward? I don't think Underdown's going to get this one. It looks like Underdown is obviously rocking damage on the side there, but we can find out. Kian Palmer, great job from him. This young man up 6 places, tackling away with Jamie Bird. John McHutchison, Phil Glover down to the line. No, what's Hutchinson? Woo! Well, he gained 1 position.
That was close.
Yeah, 0.014 of a second, I think, is blisteringly close. Martina Ward will be the last one over the line. Just a quick thing for you as well, just a quick stat. That was 14 drivers caught up in some form of incident over the first 3 laps. So there we go.
More than half as well.
Yeah.
Let's put it in a different way, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is a lot of the field,
Yes.
to put it lightly. Paul Crabbe is going to be the final driver to come across the line, by the way. No points, even though he will be classified. But you don't get points for being outside the top 20 in race 1, and he's going to have a lot of work to do in race 2 as well. Phil Glover, by the way, made a mistake on the last lap. That's how John McCutcheon was able to make that move on him. Luke Maxwell won the race, though, just about a second ahead of James Barry. Paul LeMay and Simon Edwards all within 3 seconds of the race winner. Mike Bousson overtook Graham Brown towards the end there to get 5th. Michael LeMay overtook the likes of Paul Clark to get into 7th place. James Child and Sergio De La Cruz will line up on the front row with this reverse grid. Robert Woodward held off Ben Underdown on that last lap there, with Wayne Palmer just finishing ahead of Kian Palmer. Jamie Bird rounds up the top 25 with John McCutcheon. Top 25, top 15, sorry. John McCutcheon rounds out with 16th place, and he'll be disappointed with that. Phil Glover was just beaten by him, 18 thousandths of a second between them at the line. Phil Justin and James McRitchie and Martin Ward were the final drivers on the lead lap. Damien G was 1 lap down. You may have seen him popping up in some of those battles inside the top 10, albeit a lap down. Paul Godden was a few laps down, as well as Paul Crabbe, who eventually completed the race, and unfortunately Alan Pitson didn't start this one on this occasion. So that's race 1. Goodness knows what we're going to see in race 2, which is normally more chaotic. 19 laps on this occasion, and the top 10 is reversed as well.
Yeah, it definitely is. And Paul Crabbe's off the track already. Handsome Shoe, welcome in. You nearly exploded then, James. Thank you very much. If you've only just got here, mate, you want to go back and watch the first couple of laps, and then you'll see me and you and both nearly explode, because there was so much going on. We could have sat and watched the whole first lap again here, because it was just... Well, as I said, 14 drivers involved in some form of incident over literally the first 3 laps. Was just, I don't know, what's the word? Unusual? Not the
way of putting it.
Yeah, I don't really know. Well, I was trying to think of a new word or some form of word that I could think of, and I was going to think like not the precedent, or just, I don't know, to be honest. If you could think of
unprecedented?
Unprecedented, there you go. These educated youngsters, you know what I mean, come up with all the fancy words here as well. So.
Educated youngsters. Wow, that's no one's ever described me as that before. But but thanks.
You're younger than me, which generally puts my saying that my whole company.
I know, but I'm not educated.
Well, you're at uni. That's education.
That is true, but anyway, we'll move past that. Sergio De La Cruz will be on pole for the second race alongside James Child. It'll be Paul Clark and Michael LeMay will be one to watch from 4th, especially Graham Brown will be inside the top 5 with Mike Bousson. Simon Edwards and Paul LeMay will land up on row 4 ahead of James Barry and Luke Maxwell. Robert Woodward and Ben Underdown just missed out on that top 10. Wayne Palmer and Kian Palmer will share row 7. Somewhat ironically, Jamie Bird will be 15th ahead of John McCutcheon, who has a lot of work to do, from 16th. Phil Glover, 17th alongside Phil Justin, with James McRitchie and Martina Ward running out the top 20. Then it's Damien G and Paul Godden with Paul Crabbe and maybe Alan Patson rounding out the 24 driver grid.
No,
only a couple of drivers, only Martina Ward actually, to get onto the grid still at the moment, and there she goes now onto the grid. So we will get ourselves ready for the second race of the evening. 19 laps here at Brands Hatch, and goodness knows what we're going to see over the course of that as well. We are racing for the second time here at this circuit, and it's Child who's not got a very good start, unfortunately. Paul Clark through the middle will take second place immediately and try and take a bit more, but Sergio De La Cruz will get off to a good start and lead the way through turn 1. Up the inside there is Mike Bousson as he looks for 4th place. James Child has not had a good start at all. Simon Edwards is up to 6th place. And Michael LeMay has not a good start either. He's around Paul LeMay now, and the two of them were side by side briefly there. James Barry involved as well. He's a little bit wide through turn 3 though, and so Ben Underdown's going to get involved in all of that too. Out of the first sector they go for the first time. Sergio De La Cruz holds on to the lead. It's a way cleaner start.
It is. Matt Hutchinson made it round the outside of Robert Woodward. Matt Hutchinson's up 3 going in here as well. Paul Clark is all over the back of Sergio De La Cruz with Graham Brown right behind behind him. These three with Mike Buson having a little battle. It looks like James Child's miserable day continues, and he's off the side of the circuit as well, unfortunately for him. But back up front now, what is De La Cruz going to be able to do? Is this man going to be able to get out in front and start flying away here? That's what he needs to do. But you can see the whole field, the top 10 is only separated by 2.5 seconds. There they all are. It's not over. It is not done by any shape or form, and definitely not done for this young man, James Barry. It looks like he's got pace here tonight. So for Michael LeMay, he could be under pressure earlier on, but for Paul LeMay, down 2, sitting down in 10th at the moment, Ewan. There's a lot of work for some people to do.
Paul Clark is off the road at turn 1, and he must have been involved in contact there, because you don't often find yourself out at that part of the racetrack without getting some help. So through goes almost everybody. Clark moves down to 16th place. Let's see what happened to him. He was very close with, himself. It is.
Yeah.
Just goes straight on at turn 1. That is very, very rare, I've got to say. I was expecting there to be contact there, and it would have been Graham Brown behind him, wouldn't it? Yeah, it would have been. So that's an odd one, unfortunately, for Clark, and he's thrown away a great chance at a great result.
Yeah, he definitely did there. That was the win. That could have been Paul Clark's first win of the season. It could have been his victory. It could have been his romance with the winner's trophy. But now he has nothing more than the wooden spoon, unfortunately, being down that far. Bit of a shame, but racing is racing. You can see the race is on, and you can see this man and the young gentleman right behind him, of course, as well, in Luke Maxwell. They're going to be jostling it out now. They're going to want to clear Buson. They're going to want to clear Brown. They're going to want to clear Cruz. The only thing for Mike Buson that really, the only person he can help out being there is John McCutcheon, but he's got a lot of work from a long way back to try and hold up this train. It's going to be tough. Edwards has just set the fastest lap of the race here as well, which is not going to help, and is now going to try the outside line through Druids.
And that's very wide from Brown. He could well get Freight Train now. Buson's through. Edwards as well into turn 3. That's going to be quite close. And it's all going on further down, by the way. We've got Clark off the road again with one of the Palmers. Not sure which one it is for the moment. But went off the road. Luke Maxwell, is that? Is that Luke Maxwell? No, it's Brown, excuse me. Brown, who got into the back of Simon Edwards, I'm sure. And LeMay is off now as well. It's Paul LeMay who's off the road through turn 4. A disaster for him. And he'll drop way down the field. Outside the top 20, outside of contention for a driver who is right up there in race 1. Paul LeMay is right down the back of the field now.
Yeah, he is. Graham Brown's being chased down by the Irishman and Paul Crabb there as well. John McCutcheon chasing down Ben Underdown. Of course, these two had contact in the first race. Jamie Bird seems to have contact with a lot of things in that first race. And Mike Buson is trying to push De La Cruz. Can we see it? The man in Somerset.
Here we go.
Come on, Mike. Is he going to get it here as well? The man who's come out of a tractor to drive the SR10 today. He's not fielding his carrots. He's trying to field the SR10 past De La Cruz as they drop down into Pilgrim's Rise. Is he going to be able to do it, Ewan? I don't know, but boy, oh boy, he's going to...
That is so close to contact, my goodness, and fair play to Sergio De La Cruz for giving so much space there as well. That was great racing between the two of them. Simon Edwards tried to get involved there as well, but decided very quickly, and rightly so as well, to not get involved, because that would have been a calamity for everybody. Now out of turn 4 they go. Is the exit good enough from De La Cruz? I'm not so sure. Mike Buson will be on the blower here in towards Hawthorne Bend. We'll see if he can go around the outside here. It would be quite special. Mike. He's not going to be able to do it. He's going to fall back, in fact. Simon Edwards will have a look now into Westfield. No, there'll be no chance here. Around the back of the GP circuit, it is quite difficult.
Yeah, it is. That run up through Dingledale and into Dingledale corner is always difficult. Side-by-side racing is never ideal. They're coming into Stirling's now. Is this going to be Buson's opportunity? He is literally climbing all over De La Cruz. He is the baby monkey. De La Cruz is the mother. And Mike Buson's trying to get the fleas out. He wants that first place. He's pushed him out to the outside now as well. As they're coming into Paddock Hill here, Ewan, he's going to be side-by-side. There's got to be room left. There's got to be room. He does do it. Mike Buson takes the lead coming out of there.
And he will consolidate it as well. Will Simon Edwards follow through? He held on from Luke Maxwell there, by the way, with a good defence, but Maxwell's gone wide now, embroiled in a battle with James Barry. Oh no, contact! James Barry goes off into the grass, and everybody avoids him, thankfully. But Barry's outside the top 10 all of a sudden. John McCutcheon now up to 8th place as Dela Cruz and Edwards battle side by side as well. Whoa, that was close. Up on the curb goes Dela Cruz, and it's going to be outside line for Edwards. He's got no momentum either, and I don't think he's going to have the speed to go around the outside here, unlike John McCutcheon, who might well do around the outside of 4-4 Bend. He does manage it on Jamie Bird, and that's another place, 7th place for John McCutcheon.
Yeah, he is. Buson's opening out about a second up front at the moment, but we have got this top 8 battle. Jamie Bird, McCutcheon, LeMay, Underdown, Maxwell, Edwards and Dela Cruz all still going for it here as they're on that run down clearways into Clark Kern now. Edwards trying to make the move on the outside past Dela Cruz. Not this time. Maxwell's coming. He's going to have a go as well. Edwards is that middle piece of ham between the two bits of bread at the moment. He's got to look back. He's got to look forward. It's always going to be tough, and there goes Maxwell. He's trying. Let's contact up the hill. Out of Paddock Hill they go. Oh, he can't cross him. Oh.
John McCutcheon's going for it as well. They're 3 wide with LeMay, Michael LeMay, right on the outside of 3 wide into turn 2. Oh, there's contact. There's contact, and Underdown and McCutcheon are off the road and into the wall. And it's the very same place where John McCutcheon's championship fell apart in season 1 of 2023. It's gone to disaster here in season 4 as well. Down the hill. Oh, it's contact between, I think it's LeMay and Underdown maybe on the way through that little kink through the left-hander there, just as you make your way towards turn 3.
It's Jamie Bird.
It's Jamie Bird who's got down the inside there, and McCutcheon's the innocent bystander, and you'd have to say that, maybe Underdown is as well.
No.
That's a difficult one to call.
It's not. It's not. Well, watch this. Watch the gap between Underdown and Bird. It's the way Underdown shot off there. And unfortunately, that wasn't anything more than what we are unfortunately seeing when you get people racing from different parts of the country there, Ewan, as well. That net code was massive. You saw the way Underdown went off. It wasn't normal, and he did go off and shoot off in the opposite direction. The saving grace for Underdown is the fact that McCutcheon was there, because if he wasn't there, that barrier on the right-hand side on that run down to Graham Hill was waiting for Ben Underdown.
Unfortunately, it means that John McCutcheon is out of this race after finishing way down, scoring less than 10 points in the opening race of the day. He scored less than 10 points in this one as well. It's going to be his lowest scoring round of any that we've seen so far this season. And so that means 45 points will be added to his score. His championship lead will probably be reduced here this evening in the Radical Race Series. We'll have updates with the new championship standings, of course, at the start of the broadcast next week, which, of course, comes to you at the same time from Virginia International Raceway for round 8 of this championship. Maybe things will just calm down ever so slightly as we complete the end of lap 7 now. Mike Booston is leading the way. Simon Edwards is now second ahead of Luke Maxwell. This battle for the lead, I have a feeling, is maybe not done just yet.
No, it definitely isn't. Jamie Bird is also picking up on Sergio Dela Cruz, and has got James Barry right behind him here as well. If Barry can keep it on track, he will take this position away from Bird. Bird, of course, had that dreadful race 1, and now Barry's going to try the outside line down into Paddock Hill. He's got the cutback, he's got the run up through Pilgrim's Rise. Bird's on the defence, he's moved quite late. There goes James Barry, there's contact again.
Ooh.
Oh! They made contact again coming through Druids.
Yeah, Barry missed the apex there on the way in towards turn 2. He broke too late and missed the apex entirely, and that's how there was contact with Bird. Don't think there was anything really maliciously wrong with it, but he did get it wrong slightly, did Barry. He is through now, though, and James McRitchie is going to fancy his chances here as well. Winner, of course, at Spa on his debut in the Radical Race Series. Took a feature race win in the very first race. Now he's looking for positions back here as well, looking to get through on Jamie Bird. Not sure he's going to be able to do it on this lap in particular, but James Barry is through. He's into 5th, and I think maybe the best he can hope for from this race now is 4 with Sergio De La Cruz, who actually goes off at Dingledem right in front of him.
Yeah, they are. They're coming into De La Cruz now. You can see McRitchie. McRitchie spun it up at the start as well of race 1, caused himself where he is. Now, a big shout out to this young man. He is currently in 12th place, which was a great job for what he currently up 12 places, sorry, and it's a great job for what he's done. He's now 7th here as well. There's battles all the way through. You can see by the left-hand side, 13, 14, 15 and 16 are all together. 9, 10, 11, 12 are all together. So there's a lot of action going on through this field at the moment, and this pack are led by Graham Brown with Wayne Palmer, Michael LeMay and Paul Crabb. Of course, the Irishman, another man who's up 11 places, and he's another man that had issues in race 1, and you can see the rest of the field there with Underdown, Clark, Child and G right behind him. This is not finished, and he's front here as well. Now, don't get me wrong, if Buisson could do it, this place is going to erupt. It'd be amazing for Mike Buisson if he can get this win, but he has got the 5-time champion of Simon Edwards behind him.
Oh, you're going to erupt, certainly.
I
No
will.
question about that.
He's literally 40 minutes up the road from me, is Mike Buisson. So,
Like a Phil Glover top 10. Yeah, you are going to go crazy. Unfortunately, Phil Glover. Unfortunately, Phil Glover down in 21st, by the way, here tonight. I must have got involved in something earlier on in the race, but long way to go here. Still 10 laps, and this, I think, is a big job for Mike Buisson to try and hang on here. I think Luke Maxwell's got a decent chance of going 2 for 2 here. If the two in front battle too hard, then there's a real possibility he can slip through on both of them. Into turn 1 for the 10th time of asking. Buisson goes slightly wide. He didn't grab the apex there with all that he wanted to. He's got too deep into turn 2 as well. He really angled off the corner. He wanted the inside line, and he has got it, but he's arguably opened himself up even more there with how late he broke. Now Simon Edwards will be forced around the outside. Buisson a bit slow on the inside. It's good momentum from the 5-time champion on the outside line, and through he'll go, surely, into turn 4. The camber will fall away from him slightly, but he'll have the run, and Luke Maxwell will as well. Mike Buisson is not going to be able to get in line here, and now he does. Now that both of them have gone through, Luke Maxwell will try and go to the outside. That's not going to happen into Hawthorne Bend, but Mike Buisson not only loses the lead, but loses 2nd place as well.
Yeah, it puts him down into 3rd now for Mike Buisson. Mike. I really thought, I really think he was going to hold this. But as you say, with the champions he's got behind him, it's going to be tough. You know, Edwards and Maxwell, they're not now slouches. We know them in the SR10. They do an absolutely stellar job. And now I think for Buisson, and this isn't detrimental to him, I think he could end up getting dropped off here. The worst thing for Buisson is he doesn't want to get involved with De La Cruz and James Barry, because they're side by side coming down the start-finish straight as well. Barry's on the right-hand side, De La Cruz is on the inside. Through they go, Paddock Hill. Drop down once more into Pilgrim Rise. Barry's got to... he's going to try to cut back.
That was close. He very nearly got to the inside there, but De La Cruz shut the door in his face just in time. Made sure that he wasn't going to be able to go through there, and this is only confirming it for these 4 that they will only be fighting for 4th place. Surely they can't catch the leaders now with the fight that's going on.
No, definitely not. They've got to sit back and think now, what are we going to do here? Jamie Bird is up 9, McRitchie's up 12, Barry's up 4. Bird's now climbing all over the back of Barry as they start here going through into Hawthorns. He's going to... he does make it move. Wow. For Jamie Bird there, exceptional to put it around the outside of Hawthorne over James Barry, and he did manage to do it. The problem for James Barry is James McRitchie now is also not going away.
Yeah, that is going to be a big problem for Barry. Oh no, Bird's off. Well, Bird's off the road in front of them, and he's got no rear wing either. Oh dear me, he's going to catapult back onto the racing line, and everyone will have to skip round him. James McRitchie's involved as well. I think James McRitchie must have hit him on the way through. Didn't quite catch against him myself, I've got to say. But let's have another look. Jamie Bird got it wrong himself, and I think has been clipped by McRitchie. So it's a slide on the way through. James Barry does a very good job. It's actually Barry who makes the contact. McRitchie gets into the back of Barry, and clearly the damage for McRitchie is too detrimental to his race that he has retired. James Barry continues.
Did Barry actually make contact though?
So
can we get out from behind
not
the
sure we're going to see with the trees.
Oh, that's rubbish. I don't
Deforestation.
I don't think Barry makes contact on the spin, right? I don't think that's all bird. It's
Oh no, I mean, yeah, I don't think, no, Barry doesn't tip him into a spin, no, but I think Barry hits him on the way past, if you see what I mean.
Yeah. And I think McRitchie there, I think there's damage nestled in on that one. Edwards and Maxwell have opened up as a second and a bit over Buisson. Cruiser's spin, well, he survived that onslaught from the other guys as well, and they've all had contact themselves. Michael LeMay and Robert Woodward currently side by side here as well as they're going down clearways. Coming into Clark, Michael LeMay is through. Is Paul Crabbe, going to do the same thing here? Well, time will tell as this goes on.
Yep, it certainly will. Through turn one, they will go. It's going to be all on here in towards the right-hander in towards turn two. This is the big group of the race now, really, from sixth place right the way back. LeMay at the head of it, then Woodward, Crabbe and Palmer. Under down, G and Clark are not too far away either, but just look at the amount of cars in pit lane at the moment and the amount of cars that have had problems so far. Martina Ward is on her way out of the pit lane at the moment. Jamie Bird is recently in, of course. James McRitchie, Graham Brown, both out. Hearing that Graham Brown actually had a sim crash here tonight in that second race, and that's why he is out of the race at the moment as well. But of all the drivers in the field, you've got to take your hat off to Paul Crabbe, I think, here. He has gained so many places, 15 gained so far in this race, and he maybe can get sixth, I reckon, at most in the latter portion of this race. Still 6 to go at the line.
Yeah, there still is, and Paul Clark has cleared Paul LeMay. No. Paul LeMay, oh, hold on, where are we? Paul Clark, sorry, he's cleared Damien G. G's now trying to get past Underdown, and Clark's managed to lose the position, which was a bit confusing, because G went past Underdown went past G, then G went past Underdown went past G, and in the middle of that, Paul Clark tried to get through as well. So it was a little bit chaotic further down here, but Luke Maxwell and Luke Maxwell and Simon Edwards, are still fighting out, and Underdown and G are still going side by side round turn one. So there's a lot of fighting going on, and here comes Clark. Clark just says, thank you very much. If you two are going to fight, I'll have that position away. So, yeah, unfortunately for Underdown, as they're side by side now, coming down into Graham Hill. Underdown does manage to get it done there to Ewan, but he's going to jeopardise his exit. And now he's got two I-Lounge cars coming at him here as well.
Yeah, it's a big battle here, as we've seen so many of over the course of this race so far. 6 to go, as I mentioned, including the one that we're on at the moment. These guys are going to stay single file, let's see, through the GP section. I would imagine the GP extended part through the forest, of course, from South Bank right the way to Clearways, which gets you back to the Indy layout all over again. The two leaders are still pretty close together, by the way. Simon Edwards versus Luke Maxwell for the win here. Less than 2 attempts separate them over the line, and Maxwell is increasing that pressure. Is he going to win both races in one night for the second time this season? Maybe. Luke Maxwell is making a real charge for this championship. I've got to say, it's the first time he really has done ever since he won that title. Well, I say that ever since he won the title. Ever since 3 seasons ago, where he came so close, of course, to Simon Edwards. Remember that race where he was at the Nordschleife, where he was challenging him and then came out behind him at the pit stops, pushed a bit too hard in the second half of the race, and eventually crashed out of championship contention on the final race. That was a season where he came quite close, and he hasn't really been able to replicate that over the last 2 for a various number of reasons. But this season, it feels like Luke Maxwell might be able to repeat the success of 2022.
Well, hopefully he might be able to. I'm keeping an eye on Crabbe at the moment. Paul Crabbe here is battling side by side with Robert Woodward. Woodward has just managed to hold on as they go in again through Westfield now before they drop down the hill and then up into Dingle Dells. So Crabbe was a lot closer than where he was just a second ago. Phil Glover's having a nice little tiny battle down here with Martina Ward. I think this is great to see. They're down in 17th and 18th and still battling like troopers here as Phil Glover sets up Martina Ward up. Is this going to be a run down into Hawthorne for Phil? He almost thought about taking it round the outside. He looked hesitant there. That cost him a little bit. He who hesitates loses. So yeah, he's got to be a little bit more as Phil Glover to make that move. You know, we need the top 10 We need that. We need that Phil Glover, who just drove his absolute socks off. And Paul Crabb just misses Robert Woodward.
Yeah, everyone hopefully staying on the straight and narrow now for the remainder. We've seen our fair share of incidents here so far this evening, and hopefully it will be a clean end to this one with about 3.5 laps to go as we run. Laps being ticked off very, very quickly around here, I think it's fair to say. Battle's now starting to peter out just slightly. James Barry still hasn't been able to find his way through on Sergio Dela Cruz for 4th. Dela Cruz is actually catching Mike Bousson at the moment. Not sure what's happening to Bousson, but he either doesn't have the pace or has something wrong at the moment, because not only is he got nowhere near holding on to this race lead, but he's actually going to struggle to hang on to a podium.
Yeah, well, hopefully he will be all right. Hopefully he will be okay. I'm sure this man can do it as well. Don't get me wrong, Dela Cruz is no slouch, and he's closing him down quite rapidly here as well. So hopefully for Mike Bousson, Dela Cruz doesn't, get in there. But he's got to be, it's just one of them things, isn't it? You've got to be aware of your surroundings. And if you're letting people close in on you, push, go a little bit faster. Paul Crabb and Robert Woodward are going at each other here as well. So let's see how this one pans out, and let's see how this goes, because at the end of the day it's gonna Crabb nearly ends up in the gravel. And then we got James Barry battling it out once more here as well. Who's got Dela Cruz behind him? Oh, Dela Cruz in front of him.
Yep. Yeah, so Barry's back on the back of Dela Cruz. This gap, of course, was all formed when Jamie Bird spun through the penultimate corner. Barry obviously had to halt slightly for that, and he's now back through again. And, well, he's through on Bird, of course, but he's back to the back of Dela Cruz, is what I mean. And so maybe he can go through for 4th place, or at least challenge for that place at the moment. Still waiting for Luke Maxwell to make his move. Is there going to be one from Maxwell at the moment? Don't forget that in the first race, Simon Edwards finished quite a few positions behind him in 4th place. And so Maxwell will have gained already 7 points on the day on him there, and he would lose 5 of those here. So it's still on the day. He would would gain 2 points over Edwards and extend his gap over Edwards to 4. And he would also close in on John McCutcheon, almost wipe away McCutcheon's championship advantage entirely with this performance right here. So just makes you wonder what is going through his mind at the moment. Is Luke Maxwell going to go for this as we're on the penultimate lap of the race?
Well, only time will tell. I'm sure if Luke thinks he's got an opportunity, he will go for it. And that's anybody's racing driver's instinct here as well. And I think Luke Maxwell will, if he gets the opportunity, will go for it. He hasn't got long, mind you. He's got about half a lap. He's got to get as close as he can this time. Coming out of Sterling's along clearways, it's got to be his best opportunity. I don't think he's going to be able to make it anywhere else. He runs a little bit on the grass there as well. Down now through Dingledale go. The right-hander. I don't think he's close enough, Ewan. I don't think he's close enough to be able to get him on this lap. He's got to close that gap up. He's got to either get the run out of turn 1, or he's got to get it out of Surtees down into Hawthorne, because otherwise there ain't a lot of other places here at Brands that he can actually make the move, and that's going to be the difficult thing. Oh, I thought Edwards nearly made a mistake there. That was going to be Luke Maxwell's opportunity.
No, I don't think he's close enough either here, and I don't see a way that he can get close enough on this final lap now to really have a go. When you think about it, most of the battles are kicked off from moves in the opening 3 or 4 corners, and Maxwell is not close enough to kick that off at the moment. Even being that close on the way up towards Druids there, he's still not quite enough to go through. Into turn 3 they go. He's right in the wheel tracks of the 5-time champion at the moment, a driver he's tussled with for titles on multiple occasions in the past. Edwards runs around the outside through turn 4. Maxwell takes a tighter line, surely with the exit now down the back straight and towards Hawthorne Bend. Surely Edwards has got this from here.
Yeah. I think the problem was as well, Maxwell going in through Surtees as he's coming out the exit. He just unbalanced the car going over the curb. His rear, I think it was rear left, hit the curb and the car bounced a little bit. And that unfortunately put him a little bit too far back than where he was. He couldn't get the power down, and now it jeopardized his run out. Now this is the only opportunity he has got here. He either sends it or he sits there, and that's the thing on this race now. He's either got to send it or he sits there, Ewan.
I don't think he is going to send it anywhere down the inside or anywhere indeed at all. It's going to be Simon Edwards who takes the win here by the smallest of margins. Luke Maxwell comes home second in the end, and there will be fights to the line. James Barry round the outside of the final corner. Is he going to get fourth place from Sergio de la Cruz? No. 200ths of a second is the gap at the line. James Barry misses out on a few points he really could have done with there. Finishing only in fifth position on the day, slipping back slightly in the championship, but not as much as John McCutcheon, who is the big story with regards to the big four, the top four at the front of the standings. He has dropped out and lost a lot over the course of the 19 laps here at Brands Hatch this evening, and indeed the 11 to start off the evening in race 1 as well. Brands Hatch delivering an absolute classic in the Radical Race Series again.
Yeah, absolute stellar race as well. Yeah, I don't think words could really quite explain some of the racing we've had here from the beginning of the sprint, which I don't know. I don't know. Let's just put it that way. To this one, it was just absolutely epic. So, you know, great job from all of these guys here as well. But here are the results, dear sir.
Yep, it's Simon Edwards who takes the race win here at Brands Hatch to mark his second feature race win of the season, ahead of the new championship leader, Luke Maxwell. Mike Booster will be on the podium at Sergio de la Cruz and just held off James Barry there for fourth. Michael LeMay comes home a respectable sixth ahead of Paul Crabb, who gained 16 places in that race. Robert Woodward, Wayne Palmer and Damien G round out the top 10. Ben Underdown held off Paul Clark to the line with Paul LeMay getting past the likes of James Child for 13th. Then Phil Johnson finishing in 15th. Ahead of Kean Palmer, 3/4 of a minute back in 16th place. Martina Ward finishes in 17th position, and she was just ahead of Phil Glover. They battled actually for a little bit, but Glover must have made a mistake and dropped back there in 18th place. He was over a minute back and the final driver on the lead lap. Jamie Bird finished one lap down. James McRitchie retired through the middle of that one, along with Graham Brown, who had a sim crash. Paul Godden, who had a real crash, as did John McCutcheon. And Alan Patterson, obviously, didn't make the start of the race.
Yeah,
well,
Phil
what a
Glover
fantastic
took a trip.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, we'll hopefully speak to him about that a little bit later. We'll have a little look at a replay, though, before. Sorry about this, Phil, but there we are. There's the trip onto the grass for him. We'll ask him about that, of course, a little bit later on, but let's bring in Luke Maxwell first of all and see what he has to say after what's regarded, I'd imagine, as a pretty successful evening. Welcome in, Luke. Good to have you with us. First and a second here tonight. Another 60 points drawn up on the board over the course of the two races. In the second race, though, was it a case of you didn't want to go through on Simon Edwards for fear of crashing and throwing it all away, or could you just not find a way through?
It was a bit of both. I mean, to be fair, Simon was really good in the right places. You know, getting on the gas. He had a very nice setup, I think, for getting there. And he's a brilliant driver anyway. So he had very good exits. And unless you're kind of 0.1 back in these, it's not impossible to get past on this track. But I thought I'll have a go at the end, and I got up there and I bottled it. I don't want to send it right up the inside there. I think it was the left-hander just going up the hill. I had a bit of a gap there, and he'd left it open, and I was quite close. But I thought, no, just let's be sensible. Championship to think of and all that stuff. So I was a little bit cautious, but I'm just really pleased with the result overall. I mean, not expecting a first and a second, I must admit.
No. But it was thoroughly deserved in the end. I mean, how much were you aware of what was going on during those races, especially during the first race? Because you did have quite a good gap from quite early on, but it was one of the most chaotic first laps we've ever seen in the Radical Race Series, I've got to be honest with you. And the second race as well, you were involved in a little bit of it as you guys were trying to come through the field in the opening laps there. It was all going on. It was carnage for some periods. Just how much were you aware of what was going on around in terms of all that carnage?
I was thinking, don't win the first race. Don't start 10th in the second race. But it got a good start, and I thought, oh crikey, there's a bit of a gap. I better, that's it. Okay, let's go for it and try and keep my head down. I was really conscious though, starting 10th in the second race was going to be hard. And obviously the way the points work, you want to be better off in the feature than in the sprint for sure. But once you're there, you've got to go for it, haven't you? You can't hold back. So it was a case of let's just be patient, I think, in the second race. In terms of the chaos, I caught a bit of it in my mirrors on the first race and thought there's a bit of a gap now. That's obviously helped me. Bit of chaos in the second race. Apologies to James Barry. I think I might have taken him out on one of the corners. I'll go back and have a look at that one. So, apologies if I did, mate.
But overall for you, a successful evening, first and second. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, Luke, before we let you go?
I'm going to give a shout out to the sun gods because I'm off to Cornwall for the weekend. So, bring some sun on.
Oh,
good luck for that.
I'll give you a wave on the way past, James.
Yeah, I think you're better off with wellies and an umbrella, Luke, to be honest.
I think you're right. They're all packed.
Yeah, if you see double figures temperature-wise, then let us know, because it'll be a good evening or a good week or whatever. But yes, enjoy that. Thanks very much for coming to chat to us, Luke, once again, and congratulations on finishing first and second tonight.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Cheers.
Thanks very much. Luke Maxwell there joining us after a great evening. I noticed, James, you put a replay of him making contact with James Barry up.
I don't know if he... I don't know. I can't work out if he did. That's why I was looking at it, to see if he has. I think that if there was contact, it was literally like a hair's breadth from Luke Maxwell. I can't really...
Kind of did.
Yeah, I think he probably did. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he's innocent. You know what I mean? He definitely, I think there was some, but I think there was, it must have been like, you know what I mean? So, there we go.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let's move on to a slightly less controversial thing. I don't think Simon Edwards was involved in anything controversial, so we'll bring him in and have a chat, of course. Welcome in again, Simon. Good to have you with us, holding on for the win in race 2 in the end, and we'll start with that. Just how much were you thinking about, Luke said just there to us that you were quick in the right places and did all the right things to defend and make sure that actually you didn't have to do a lot of side-by-side defending in terms of battling, but you just held him at arm's length, held him at bay. Just how much were you actually thinking about that, and how much were you just driving your own line around here?
A little bit of both. I was just ensuring I was doing slow in, fast out. So that I didn't even care where Luke, if he was moving around in my mirrors. So I was trying to just ignore him, and just, like you say, do my lines, but do it precise so that I would never miss the exit. I did a couple of minor wobbles, but nothing that had lost more than a tenth, which was, he needed a bit more than a tenth. I want to apologise to James Child as well on lap 1 there. I clipped his rear end, thinking I could nip up the inside of him, but I couldn't. I got past him, but I put him in the wall.
I've got to say, I don't particularly remember, but James is good.
Oh, good. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. Okay.
I'm sorry, mate. I'm showing it now.
Well, James is showing us a replay. Oh, it was right on lap 1. Okay, I understand. That's why it's pushed to the back of my mind, because it was a while ago. There's the contact. Yeah, we've had the apology, so it's all good. In race 1 as well, I noticed on lap 1 you had a slight bit of contact. Well, I don't know if it was contact, but there certainly was eventual contact. Once you did have the spin, you were hit by James Barry, of course, who didn't really have anywhere to go. Just what happened to you there on lap 1 of race 1?
I just outbraked myself a little bit. I didn't feel I'd left a whole car's width on the inside, so I wasn't expecting anybody to be there. And James just clipped my rear end. There was no malice in it. So I just lost the rear end, but I managed to save it from spinning. So I only lost 2 places. So the start was good, wasn't it? I had to go right round Paul, who'd virtually didn't move off the grid. So,
yeah, it was one of the more chaotic starts we've seen all time, actually. I was about to say all season, but all time is probably more accurate, especially further back from where you were. But anyway, you managed to take the race win in race 2. Simon, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
I'm just going to give a shout out to James again. He had a good position there. I hope he managed to finish, so I'll leave it at that.
All right, thanks very much, Simon. Congratulations on the win in race 2, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Yeah, I can't remember what it is next week. Do you know?
VIR.
Oh, that's all right. I like VIR.
Okay, well, that makes one of us.
Depends which combo as well. Depends which combo.
Yeah, that's true. That is true as well. We look forward to seeing you then, Simon.
Okay, see you then.
Thanks very much, Simon Edwards, winner of race 2 here tonight at Brands Hatch. I don't like VAR much, by the way. I'm sure we'll get into that. It's the full circuit, is it?
Yeah.
Well, that's somewhat missing. Full course, so it's sort of the outer sort of bit. Okay, I see what you mean. Okay, that's I suppose the best of a bad bunch, but still it's a bad bunch. Anyway, we'll get to that. Let's bring in Mike Booston, who was also on the podium in race 2. Welcome in, Mike. Good to have you alongside us again. 3rd place here in the race, but you were leading for a little point in race 2. Was there ever a moment where you thought you could hold off Edwards and Maxwell, or were you pretty resigned to that from quite early on?
Only if Sergio would have held him off for about another 5-10 minutes, then we'd have been all right. But without it, no, I'm way off their pace at the moment. So there was a small glimmer, but not anything real.
Oh, James got excited. Just say that.
I did. A real man would have held him off.
Well, to be fair, you probably cursed me.
Oh, give over. I was cheering you on, Mike. I was there with my pom-poms. I said that you'd come out of your tractor down in Somerset from getting your carrots and you put it in the SR10 and you were going for it. And what happened? You took the lead. I got even more excited and then you lost it. What can I say about that?
If you're going to pick on me, I'm just going to say I'm going to set up a GoFundMe page for you.
What for?
Well, I seen your video the other day and I thought the poor homeless bloke needs some money. Better.
I'm not making any comments. That's Mike.
I thought he's fallen on hard times.
What? Because I've got a long beard and hair. Is that it?
Yeah, the hat. I thought myself, looks like a hobo I once knew.
Oh, no, I keep getting told off for putting the eating on, so that's why I've got a hat on my head, mate. But thank you anyway. How much we got in it so far?
What's that?
How much is in me GoFundMe?
Like 5 pence, I think it was. Couldn't find anybody who wanted to donate.
I'll pop up to your house tomorrow for a cup of tea and you can give me some free lunch.
Yeah, if you're in the area, mate, just pop on by, you know. I'll go and pick something from a field I've got out the back or something.
Yeah, okay, mate.
Just gotta get me tractor out, you know.
Yeah, get your tractor out. Anyway, listen to Ewan, will you? God blimey, you've interrupted his interview.
Oh, yes. Yes, sorry. We've run the flow.
What flow? Is the question.
Ewan's lost his marbles. Go on, mate. You carry on.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to, or I will try to. I want to go back to race 1 slightly, Mike, because obviously that's set you up for the position that you eventually got into for race 2. How much did you see of the complete carnage on lap 1 and then in the laps after that? Because surely everybody will have got involved in a bit of it.
I see a few little incidents happening, because obviously I think I qualified 14th, and I thought this is going to be a long first stint. And then everyone just... It's like the waves were just parting and I could just drive up through the middle. It was lovely. Made my life so much easier.
Oh, I can imagine so. Didn't remember you qualified quite so far down as that. Why were you so far down in qualifying compared to your race pace, which is clearly not 14th place?
I just, just don't put the time in anymore. I don't know. I put quite a lot of wing on, so I think that probably hampered it a little bit because... Even with a bit of draft, it was, I think, 14th place. But there's something about me in qualifying, I just don't quite master it very well.
Well, fair enough. We got there in the race anyway. Got up towards the front in race 2. That's all that matters, really. That's where the points are, after all. Is there anyone to give a shout out to, Matt, before we let you go?
Damn, I didn't really think about it. I'll give it to Sergio tonight for holding Luke and Simon off for a little bit. Give me that first place for a little bit.
But not enough, as far as you're concerned.
No, not. Yeah, I'll give him a shout out, but he could have tried harder.
Shout out.
Yeah, he could have tried harder.
and so could you, but
maybe not. To be fair.
Should have thought about what the hot topic was for this week. Sure, I'll be more prepared next week.
Okay, well, as long as you're on the podium, then yeah, that's fine. So we hope to see that again. Hopefully we'll see you next week, Mike, but congratulations on podium here tonight, and thanks for chatting to us as well.
Pleasure, boys. Speak to you
soon. So much. Mike Boos in the 3rd place in race 2 here tonight at Brands Hatch. And finally, we can bring in Phil Glover, who will also chat to us about his afternoon or evening in the Radical Race Series again. Welcome in, Phil. Good to have you with us again. It's been a busy day for everybody, I think, and I don't think your day is going to be any less busy than what we've heard so far from some of the others. How was it overall?
Yeah, well, back to my usual style. I was a bit concerned that James was getting a bit too excited a couple of weeks ago or so. So I thought I'd better back it off a bit. And I don't want him having a coronary.
A coronary? Is that the right word, is it?
No.
No, I didn't think so.
It sounds right, though, doesn't it?
I don't know. Sounds like a word that you get a triple point scoring for in Scrabble, Phil, to be honest.
Or a low alcohol lager.
Yeah. Sorry, Ewan, I've interrupted again. You carry on.
No, I don't know.
I encourage that. It's not your fault.
It's fine, isn't it? It is fine. What about the second race? I noticed you were quite near to Martina Ward for a little while, but you eventually dropped off the back. Just what happened? What happened there?
It all started with my foot slipped off the clutch on. I don't know why. I hadn't obviously got it, or wasn't paying attention, or whatever. So I had a jump start at the start of the race, which meant I had to have a drive through. Which, when you end up with that, you kind of it's a bit soul destroying, isn't it? So there was nobody to race, although at points I was catching Kieran up, I think, and then I would make silly mistakes and then lose that advantage, and so. Yeah, and then Martina, I think she must have been in the pits and rejoined, did she, perhaps? So, yeah, it was a shame about the first race, actually, because I got a good start from fairly well at the back. I made quite a few places up, and then somebody spun in front of me into a left-hander, or maybe they didn't spin, went off or something. So I had to avoid that, and then that put me right at the back. So... hey ho, you know me, I always enjoy it. So it was just a bit soul destroying this tonight, I'm afraid.
Absolutely, yeah. It's not a good way to start the race, to put it lightly. But either way, we got to the end. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, Phil, before we let you go?
Well, you guys, as always, you do a great job for us. So keep it up.
Oh, thanks very much. Phil, we'll look forward to speaking to you again next week at VIR, or after VIR, after the race there. But for now, thanks very much for coming to chat to us.
You're very welcome. Speak to you next week.
See you
Cheers.
later.
Bye.
Thanks so much. Phil Glover there, chatting to us at the end of the round 7 of the Radical Race Series at Brands Hatch. Fair to say that this track has delivered again, James?
It definitely has, and it's really hard because there were so many drivers that could have done so well tonight, and there was so much stuff going on, and 14 cars in race 1, that is just unheard of. Netco for McHutchinson again, he's come out and said maybe Brands just hates me. Well, it might do. It might be just one of them bogey tracks that people can't get a hold of, you know what I mean? And I think that's the thing, because, all of these guys are great guys and they're great racing, and we've seen it before, managing free wide and stuff like that. And to have it ended like John McHutchison did, I think it was obvious that there was some form of internet connection issue going in there because of the way that Underdown moved, and it punted him right to the right-hand side. And that alone is just not normal. We don't normally see that form of movement when cars go off. So we knew it was something like that. But yeah, it was just a shame that all of that happened in race 1. But the only good thing about that, Ewan, is it mixed up for race 2, and we had the likes of Crab coming through for 16 place gain, Damien G for 11 place gain, Luke Maxwell 8, Edward 6. So a lot of people benefited from that, but just not quite how they probably would have liked to have benefited, if you see what I mean.
Yep, probably, I would imagine. That's just it, though, for the Radical Race Series tonight at the Brands Hatch. This has been round 7, of course. Join us next week for round 8. We'll be at the Virginia International Raceway for the full circuit, and we'll look forward to that, of course. Another couple of races coming your way on that particular evening. 8 laps for the sprint, 14 for the feature, and so make sure you join us again. But for now, we will be bidding our farewells. Make sure you subscribe to the JPB YouTube channel for all the other racing that is going on over the course of the week. But for now, we will say goodbye. It's been me, Ewan O'Leary, alongside James Parfitt here this evening. Until we see you in 1 week's time for more Radical Race Series action, it's goodbye for now.